Do you want to hop in and you just want to attack a question? Should we just get a question? Let's do a question. For later in life transitioners, how do you deal with friendly acquaintances that have only known you as your birth gender? I don't have a ton of friends, but I do have a ton of people I see regularly and we talk all the time, usually at the kids' sport events or just around the community, some of which are my kids' best friends' parents, and I have a decent friendly relationship with. I'm pretty sure they're going to notice soon as my facial hair is starting to really come in and my voice is getting harder to keep in the female range. This must be a female to male transition.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I should tell them.
I reckon.
Yeah, or just keep kind of chugging along in these spaces until it's brought up. I'm not very open about my trans identity and I get worried about all these things. I'm also not out at work where I watch young kids at a gym. What have you found is the best way to handle these situations?
Well, couple things. Yeah. I don't have kids, so I don't have that exact thing, but I am an older transgender person who started later in life and have had to deal with the residual people that have known me for decades pre-transition. Yeah. The first thing I would say, the thing that's gonna make it the easiest is coming out. In general, I don't think it's healthy to come out partially if you can help it. I know sometimes it's not always possible, but depending on where you live, depending on what the rules are in that state or what country, it's not always as easy as it is in California or Washington, where the places where I've lived. But if you don't come out all the way in general, I don't have any evidence to prove this, but I've witnessed it enough to see that I think it slows the transitional process along. I think it makes it more difficult. I think it just adds layers and layers of complication, and it makes everything harder, whereas opposed to it is hard to come out but once you get past that initial thing, it's just coming out, you've done it already to someone. And so that's, in my opinion, it's just smart to do it everywhere. You should embrace it. If you're going to transition, then do it. Don't sort of do it. And they're going to start seeing it. It's if you're growing a beard, they're going to notice. If you're presenting femme and you start growing a beard, people are decidedly going to notice. And if your voice stops dropping, they're decidedly going to notice. People are pretty unobservant for the most part, but they're not that unobservant. And
they did notice at work when I started growing boobs.
Yeah,
they'll notice.
I mean, you think? That's the thing, is there are certain secondary sex characteristics that come through that it's pretty hard to hide. And the real question I would have is, why are you hiding it at all? I don't think it's the best course of action. And how do you approach things? That does get more complicated because it depends on your audience. You kind of got to know the room.
Yeah.
You gotta know who you're talking to. You gotta know, do you bring it up? Maybe. Do you wait for them to bring it up? There's a certain amount of trolling pleasure you can get with that.
What are you talking about? My voice hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. If you want to go that hardcore gaslighting route, you could do that. Or just do the test of how weak are people before they say something. How long will they be awkward before they say something? But that's kind of not a great thing to do.
I was going to say, the one thing I always say in situations like this is, you're there. You know the community you're in. You know the people that you're in. You have to figure out what's going to be most comfortable and the best path of action for you. I would say, though, don't make choices based on making other people comfortable. But, if it's a safety concern, if, these are people with your kids, then you have to take that temperature. But your parents or your kids' friends or people from school, that's when I came out to my friends, I came out to my friends personally. And then the people who were acquaintances got a Facebook thing. Do you consider the parents at the school, the other parents, friends? How that's up to you.
He said something along those lines.
But that's how do you?
He has a relationship.
You have a relationship, but it's a little different. So, yeah, I mean, you have to take your own mental health, and you have to know your situation. And if it was me, I don't know. Like I said, there's are you living in Vermont or California? Are you living in a big city?
How did you do it?
I mean,
you did have that situation.
I just said, like, if I had friends, friends, I told my friends face to face, or on phone if we had some distance, and everyone else just found out on Facebook. But I didn't have a thing where I had like other parents or anything. Like, I don't have, like you, I don't have kids. I don't have kids where I have to consider how that's going to affect them. But if anyone, I would say, if you're going to wait, when anyone asks, just tell the truth. And if they got a problem with it, that's on them. If you feel like, are there PTA meetings where you can come out, or, have everyone over for a picnic and come out? Like, I just feel like for me, here's the thing. I don't like, in that situation, I'm not friends with, like, my kids' friends' parents. I know me. Like, I'm not friendly with them. I wouldn't tell them anything about me. Anyway, you could also just, take like 6 months away, grow that beard out, and then just come back at whatever your new name is, and just be like,
that is a way to go.
I'm
honestly.
the uncle. My sister, she moved on, and I thought I'd step in and take care of the kids. And it's like an 80s movie.
I don't know about that.
It's like an 80s movie comedy where, like, it was starring John Candy for some reason.
Gonna Tootsie that shit.
Yeah, like Roseanne Barr's the mom.
I don't recommend that course
and John Candy comes back after 6 months. Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying. You wanted possibilities. That's a possibility.
That is a possibility.
That's a possibility.
And movie
and
an 80s switcheroo gender comedy.
The path of least resistance too. Especially if you come back as your own brother and the kid's uncle.
That's it right there.
They're gonna be like, "Oh, you look so much like her." It's like, "Yeah, I do, don't I?" It's almost like I just changed my voice and grew a beard.
Well, you did strike something there.
Yeah.
And I think the path of least resistance is a fine path to take. Like, not only with this, but kind of with almost most things in life. It's like it's always an option that I think should be considered, and I choose that path probably more often than not. In most things.
Yeah.
In this particular case, it really does just depend on you, because everyone's different and everyone has different reasons for why they're not out all the way or how they approach it. Bottom line is, it's hard. It's hard to be trans. Coming out and doing it is hard, but the benefit that you get with doing it all kind of at the same time and getting it out is then you don't have to do it anymore.
Right.
And then you're done with it. And then it's over. And then not only that, but then the whole rest of your life is open for you to live freely as you are, and you don't have to worry about, like, how am I going to, you don't have to worry about those awkward questions because they're no longer awkward. The answer is like, I'm trans and I'm a trans man, and this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing. And
plus, if
you don't like it, that's your problem.
Yeah, if it's like a parent group or something at a school, like, you just have to like wait for one of them to say your name and then be like, actually, I'm Steve now, and the rumor mill will take care of the rest. Like, everyone will know by the end of the day that you're Steve now. Yeah, they'll all be on the phone.
I mean, that's another thing too. That the longer you delay like that, and you stagger coming out, like, I don't know how long you've been on T, but you've been long enough where your voice is changing and your beard's coming in. So like, you've been on it at least a few months.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, like, if you've already started hormones, then why stay in the closet? Like, unless you've got some good reason to do that, like a safety concern, or like you're worried about losing your job or something. But I mean, even then, I feel like that's part of it. That's part of the gauntlet, is you have to just come out, and you have to suffer the slings and arrows, and then sometimes it is devastating, and then you have to make you crawl out of the ashes like a phoenix and start living the rest of your life. And you will lose some things, and all what is certain is that things will change. But isn't that what we're going for? Like, that's what we're all going for.
Like, if you're eventually going to change your name, like, you say you're not out at work, you're going to have to tell your job that you've changed your name if you do it legally. Like, that's all stuff you're going to have to take care of anyway. So a lot of this stuff is like, you can't just keep kicking it down the road, but eventually it's going to be something that you're going to have to take care of.
It gets harder and harder the longer you kick it down the road too,
right.
because
you come out, you
the
just
more
be like, I'm done.
Yeah, it's ripping off a Band-Aid. It's like, I'm trans, I'm doing this.
I'm trans. I'm cooler than you.
You all have
Be
5
jealous.
minutes for questions, and then we're moving on. Like, or any way you want to handle it, but like, by not coming out, by keeping that, like, not only are you causing hardships down the road, are you confusing people? You're making situations more awkward, because if you already have a bit of a beard and your voice already started to change, people noticed. They noticed already. They already know. Like, they know, or at the very least, they know something's up.
Something's up.
Something's out of the ordinary with Shelby. Like,
their little cis brains are clicking, and they don't know what is going on. But they
understand it exactly.
I don't know what's going on.
The numbers aren't coming
Can't
up.
put my finger right on
paradox.
it. But
so, but by just addressing it and getting it out of the way, the benefits are that awkwardness ultimately goes away, and some people are going to be awkward about it, but those are the people. That's one of the benefits, in a way.
Yeah, do you want them around you?
It exposes the people that are toxic, so you can clearly avoid them, instead of having to guess at it and living in a world of innuendo and supposition and guesswork, instead of like walking through a minefield of, does this person suspect something? That's no way to live. It's just a breeding ground for paranoia, and it's the whole reason for transitioning a lot of the time is because that lifestyle sucks.
Yeah.
Being in the closet sucks. It's hard, and it feels terrible, and it makes life miserable. So get out.
Do it.